Tonight's speaker brought energy, passion, and absolutely no clue what they were saying. I'm Ethan Blake, and I'm here to provide the translation for a rant so fast, even logic couldn't keep up. It's like watching a motivational poster argue with itself in real time. But don't worry, I came with a bottle of truth serum and a flamethrower of humor. We'll slow it down, break it apart, and laugh at every glorious stumble, because some people bring the heat and other people just burn out. So, let's roast.
At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is a serious problem for Democrats. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual. Because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is.
Bill Maher is teetering on the edge, just one meltdown away from jumping ship, as the radicalism of the left spirals out of control. In a blazing monologue on Real Time, Maher unleashed a brutal critique aimed squarely at AOC and the Democrats, accusing them of showing, in his words, a disturbing disdain for America. I've watched Maher rant before, but this time, he took it to a whole new level. His frustration with woke politics is boiling over. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because you're going to want to see where this goes next. Let's dive in.
Let's hear it for Democratic politicians who keep it real. Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan says Democrats are, quote, weak and woke and should get some goddamn alpha energy and need to fucking retake the flag. I gotta say this. I love this new trend.
Yep, the Democrats are now officially devouring themselves. One by one, members of their own party are waking up to the growing madness festering within their ranks, and some are even bold enough to speak out. It's exactly what we've been saying on this channel from the beginning. The left's obsession with wokeness has gone completely off the rails, and if it's not checked soon, it'll crush what's left of basic common sense. You could see the satisfaction on Bill Maher's face as yet another Democrat snapped out of the ideological trance and started holding her own side accountable. And believe me, Maher is just getting started.
Here's the thing. Senator Slotkin is a serious person. She's a former CIA agent. You know how every streaming action movie now is about a soccer mom who used to be in the CIA? Okay, that's really her. So we should listen to her because she's right. Lady Deadpool is right.
This isn't just political theater anymore. It's a full-scale reckoning. When even lifelong liberals like Bill Maher and Senator Slotkin begin to sound like frustrated centrists, you know something is seriously broken. The cracks in the narrative are widening, and control is slipping fast. Maher and Slotkin aren't the only ones. More voices from the left are quietly admitting what we've been shouting for years. The progressive agenda has devolved into sheer delusion. And when someone as bold and unapologetically blunt as Maher starts pointing fingers, you can bet the rest of the party is starting to squirm. Now, Maher is preparing to drop some jaw-dropping stats about the Democrats, and it's going to shake things up.
This is a serious problem for Democrats. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual. Because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is.
This is absolutely insane. Simply because Donald Trump holds power, Democrats suddenly act like they despise America. The hypocrisy is off the charts. It's hard to fathom just how far these people are willing to go to force their agenda through. They scream about unity, but only when it aligns with their goals. The moment things don't go their way, it's all about division, outrage, and chaos. They wear virtue like a costume when convenient, but behind the scenes, it's nothing but a quest for control. Unity isn't a true value for them. It's a political weapon. But now, listen to Bill Maher as he lays it all bare, exposing what America has become under Donald Trump. And the uncomfortable truth the left doesn't want to hear.
The U.S. is leagues ahead of the rest of the world on most of the progressive issues that are important to young people. America has 14 million women-owned businesses. 17% of black women are starting businesses, which is faster than white women or white men. Gay Americans are free to marry, and 49% of them own property. Yes, in America, gays buy buildings. In other places, they get thrown off them.
And yet, certain media outlets are still clinging to the worn-out narrative that the LGBTQ+ community is somehow under attack just because Trump is in office. At the same time, political pundits are making wild claims that women are losing their businesses and that Trump is dragging America back to 1964. It's fear-mongering at its most obvious, meant to provoke emotions, not convey facts. These so-called commentators aren't interested in truth. They're chasing clicks, manufacturing outrage, and keeping their audiences locked in a constant state of panic. It's nothing short of a propaganda machine, driven by paranoia and powered by cherry-picked storytelling. But Bill Maher isn't buying into the hysteria. He sees right through the noise, and watch closely as he continues to stand his ground and defend Trump against the media spin.
All those old movies you think are cringe? Well, they're cringe because America changed, because we modernized, way more than most societies have. Our current Congress is the most racially and ethnically diverse ever. They're like a beautiful, useless rainbow. And we proudly live in a land where every TV commercial features a mixed-race couple, including the ones where it makes no sense. Mom's black, dad's white, and the kid's Asian. But here is the dilemma for Democrats. Their young people, their key constituency, not only don't like their own civilization, they like the wrong one. They actually think Hamas is a liberation movement. They chant for the Houthis. They're chanting, "We will honor our martyrs" at Yale. They're looking for love in all the wrong countries.
Do I blame the kids? Honestly, no. They've been completely indoctrinated by an older generation, blinded by their hatred for Donald Trump. That deep-rooted animosity didn't stop with him. It evolved into a sweeping disdain for the country itself. Now, that mindset is being handed down like a poisoned legacy. Instead of encouraging critical thinking, they've taught bitterness. Instead of fostering pride, they've nurtured resentment. The outcome? A generation raised to view America not as a land of opportunity, but as the problem. It's tragic, not because of the kids, but because of those who misled them.
Someone needs to tell the kids that America is not the society where women basically have no rights, where there's zero freedom of religion and where dissent is punishable by death. Our democracy may be on life support, but we still have elections. They don't. And yet at Coachella this year, when an Irish rap group projected onto screens, "Fuck Israel, Free Palestine," got big applause. "Globalize the Intifada" is the catchphrase that's really catching on these days, as if worldwide suicide bombing and cosplaying Islamic revolutionaries is the answer to our problems.
Unfortunately, these are the so-called solutions that Democrats and their allies have pushed onto a highly impressionable younger generation. Turn on the TV today, and the level of misinformation is staggering. Israel is now painted as the villain for simply defending its right to exist, while terrorist groups are bizarrely praised as freedom fighters. It's a complete moral inversion. And to his credit, Bill Maher doesn't shy away from pointing fingers. He places the blame squarely where it belongs, on Democrat politicians who will say or do anything to gain and maintain power, regardless of the truth, the cost, or the long-term consequences for the country and the world.
At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, "This is not a symbol of freedom. This is."
It's both frightening and deeply sad. AOC and Bernie Sanders watched the outrageous display unfold and said nothing, all for political points. How can anyone seriously compare Palestine to America? In many Palestinian territories, women can't vote, can't show their hair, and sometimes not even their eyes. LGBTQ plus individuals are literally thrown from rooftops. Is this the society young Democrats want to glorify? Is this what they're promoting under the banner of justice? This isn't activism, it's pure ignorance, dressed up as moral virtue. And the silence from so-called progressive leaders like AOC and Bernie, it speaks louder than words. They've abandoned principle in favor of politics, and the consequences are both dangerous and disgraceful.
The thought leaders in the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great. The Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party. Last election, it was all the gender stuff, the insistence that men can have babies and such, and now I fear that we like the terrorists is the new that.
Bill Maher is finally saying out loud what many of us have been shouting for years. He's connecting the dots, calling out the chaos, and exposing the ideological collapse of the modern Democratic Party. Let's be clear, the Democrats are in serious trouble. It all started when the left began pushing absurd ideas, like men can have babies, children shouldn't be disciplined, abortion on demand at any stage, and biological men can instantly become women. I raised the alarm, many of us did, but they dismissed it as progress. Well, look how that turned out. Just glance at their electoral losses, a painful embarrassment. Have they learned anything? Not even close. Instead of adjusting, they've doubled down, aligning themselves with radical ideologies that excuse or even glorify terrorism. This isn't just political failure, it's moral decay. And Americans are starting to see it. Slowly but surely, people are waking up to the insanity that has consumed the left. The only question is, how much damage will they cause before they're finally held accountable? And that's exactly where Bill Maher delivers the knockout blow. Unfiltered, unafraid, and completely fed up with the madness consuming his own party.
Liberals need to push back on the dumb ideas that come from their children. The Democrats' problem is the energy of the parties with the young and the young are with the terrorists. That's not good. So talk to your children and remind them you don't really want to live like your heroes in Hamas. All the shit you do all day, it was all made in America. Your smartphone, your Grubhub, your freedom to bitch about America, that's all American stuff. You tell your phone you want a milkshake and a guy brings it to your house. Please, you couldn't survive a week living in Intifadaville.
The sooner Democrats abandon the lies and walk away from toxic woke ideologies, the better chance they'll have at saving their crumbling party. What they need now isn't more virtue signaling or ideological purity tests. They need real practical ideas that connect with everyday Americans. Ideas based on reality, not radical theory. But more importantly, they need to start being honest with the next generation. No more sugar-coated nonsense. No more selling fantasy as progress. It's time to stop feeding kids illusions under the guise of inclusion or social justice. Every day, they ignore this truth. They steer closer to irreversible collapse. The hypocrisy and extremism radiating from today's left is turning off voters. Even young people who once stood as their most loyal base. And we can't ignore what's happening in the black community either. More are waking up, asking questions, and refusing to support a party that talks a big game but delivers little. If Democrats don't hit the brakes and redirect soon, they're not just at risk of losing elections, they're at risk of losing trust, credibility, and entire generations of voters who are done with empty promises and ideological nonsense. Time is running out.
They're like the girl in White Lotus who was going to live in a Buddhist monastery and then lasted one night.
At this pace, Republicans might not even need to campaign in 2028. Democrats are doing a stellar job of sabotaging themselves. With each misguided policy, every out-of-touch soundbite, and their relentless embrace of fringe ideologies, they're driving voters away by the millions. By the time the next election cycle hits, the GOP could simply smile their way to the ballot box and stroll into power with little resistance, because there may not be a serious Democratic contender left standing. Once a dominant political force, the Democratic Party is now unraveling, paralyzed by internal conflict, virtue signaling, and a dangerous detachment from reality. They've turned their backs on the working class, alienated minority communities they once claimed to champion, and pushed countless Americans away with their obsession over identity politics and radical agendas. While Republicans prioritize law, order, and economic stability, Democrats are busy arguing over pronouns and rewriting biology textbooks. If this downward spiral continues, 2028 won't even be a contest, it'll be a coronation. Unless the Democratic Party makes a dramatic and genuine course correction, they won't just lose elections, they'll lose all relevance, credibility, and the trust of a nation ready to move forward without them.
Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
In the end, the Democratic Party is marching down a self-destructive path driven by lies, radical ideology, and moral confusion. Their refusal to acknowledge reality and their obsession with fringe narratives are costing them the support of young voters, minorities, and even lifelong liberals. Meanwhile, Republicans barely have to lift a finger as the Democrats implode from within. If they don't wake up soon, it won't just be elections they lose, they'll lose the trust of an entire nation. The tide is turning, and Americans are desperately seeking truth, stability, and good old-fashioned common sense. Right now, they're not finding it on the left. History won't be kind to those who traded logic for empty rhetoric, and voters won't forget who stood strong for truth versus who crumbled for applause. On that note, we'll wrap up today's video. If you found this message powerful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more bold, unapologetic content like this. Share it with a friend and help us expose the madness, one video at a time. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's keep fighting back against the woke agenda together.